Hey, insight number 2. Yes, cold day here in New Zealand, so I'm inside, and yes, we're still in lockdown. Hopefully tomorrow we can come out a little bit, but we'll see. Meanwhile, we're just making the best of what we got, right? But I have been feeling the hard, I gotta say. I did say that in insight number 1 too. I am feeling the hard, adulting very hard, living life in 2021 very hard. But I'm doing it. Solidarity, doing it. Now, reading scriptures always helps too. It does for me. That kind of stuff. Anyway, section 95. We're going to look at section 95 now. Now, this is to the Kirtland Saints specifically, but again, these thoughts and these revelations do apply to all of us. And the mandate was to build a temple. And they had failed. This is when I talked about the first. They had failed, because remember, these are not in chronological order. They had failed at building the temple for whatever reasons. They had failed. It says that they School of the Prophets had some issues, and yeah, whatever they had. Now in verse 1, which is not what we were looking at, but verse 1 it said that the Lord, unto whom I love I also chasten. Now I liken that to I've got a school teacher I had that I thought hated me, and I had her for 3 years, and I thought she just hated me and picked on me. And in the 4th year in her classroom, I was going through a lot of stuff. I just broke down and cried and said, I can't do this. I can't take this class. I need a study period, and this is the class I've got to drop. And I was just expecting her to go, well, fine then, go away. And she just like, come in to my house. And she sat me down, and we talked for like an hour, and she counseled me on why it was okay and that I had to look after myself and all these things. Now, for 3 years, I thought she hated me. Like, just picked on me. But actually, she was trying to better me. So, chasten me, yes, and it was done with love. I just didn't see it at the time, but I saw it afterwards. And even after that, like I wasn't in her classroom, she would still chasten me for doing whatever and catch up with me, but it was all in love. And I could see the love after that experience. So, she's still precious in many, many ways. Still alive too, which is really cool because she's old. But yeah, she's a really, really sweet lady. And that made such a difference to me and helped me realize that, God will chasten us. Jesus will chasten us, but it's because they're trying to get the best out of us and they love us. They're not just going to leave us complacently in the side of the road in the dust and go, well, you gave up, too bad. No, they want to help us. So yes, they will love us, but part of that love is to also mold and chasten, like you do with your children, like your parents did with you. If you've got good parents, and I'm picking that anyone watching this is going to be a good parent, or trying, or concerted effort in being a good parent. You love your kids, but you got to chasten them sometimes so that you keep them safe, so that they can learn. So this is what's happening here. So keep that in mind. Now we're just going to look at verse 8. And verse 8 says, Yea, verily I say unto you, I gave unto you a commandment that you should build a house, in the which house I designed to endow those whom I have chosen with power from on high. So he's wanting to say to them, I'm going to give you the endowment. This is a gift. I'm endowing you with a gift. That's where the endowment word comes from. It's a gift from heaven. They didn't know what that was. They didn't know the reason behind it. They didn't know the why. They just knew that the Lord said to them, build a temple. And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll get to it. They didn't know how urgently important it was. And I think we have better education around that now. And yet we still take temples for granted sometimes. Quite often, actually. So, when the Lord asks us to do things that don't make sense yet, because this is what it was. The Lord had asked them to do something. It didn't quite make sense to them yet. This is the thing. So some of these are the little things. Some of them are big, like building a temple. And actually, I got the picture here from the Come Follow Me manual because it's pretty cool. This is then when they eventually got to build the Kirtland Temple. You can see there. Pretty cool. And they're all working on it. And I kind of liken this to today's world. We're not asked to, because we wouldn't legally be able to build a temple like this in any country safely anymore. We actually have proper skilled builders and labourers, and our tithing funds pay for it. Yes, absolutely. But this can be likened, very much so, to how we are now, and that we need to all gather together, work together, and build each other as a Zion people. So these days we're not specifically building like a temple like they were asked to, but we are asked to build a Zion people. So we'll get to that more in the other insights, but keep that in mind. So yeah, some of these asks are big, some of them are little, and some are easy and some are very hard. We may never know in this life all the ways. So, all the whys, not all the whys. We don't know all the whys. So quickly, one of the experiences I had was when I was in primary once. You watch the kids go in and out to the bathroom, and this young boy left to go to the bathroom, and I felt a strong prompting from the Holy Ghost, go now. And I didn't hesitate. I'm like, okay. And I just went. And I don't know what I was doing or why. And I just figured it was to do with that young boy. Now, something had upset him. He hadn't gone to the bathroom. He was going to walk home. Right? His home was ages away. Like, he knew where it was. That is not safe. And I was able to call him back and talk to him. So I didn't know the why. I could have sat there and gone, go now where? And I could have left it. And that boy could have fallen into trouble. I'm sure the Lord would have protected him some way. But I listened to that one. And I don't always listen, but I try. Now, the other one was getting sealed in the temple. Now, I studied this for years because I have all sorts of issues with eternal families. That's another topic for another day. But I was concerned about how it's all going to look on the other, once we're in the celestial kingdom. If I even get there or wherever I end up, how it's all going to look. That really concerns me for many reasons. And I studied it. I looked at all the scriptures. I read conference talks. I talked to the 70s that we have here, the leaders that I talked to them. And the only conclusion that I could come to was that it was the right thing to do. The Lord wanted me to do it because it was the right thing to do. So I did. And I love my husband. It's got nothing to do with loving my husband. Because I do. I love him very, very much. Very, very, very much. But it's my issues with other things. So I don't know the why, and I can't explain all the details around it, but it was the right thing to do. Like Nephi building the boat, like Noah building the boat, like Moses leading those out of Egypt. We don't always know the whys. Those are the big things. Some of them are littler, but they're there. So I know one day I'll see this big picture and I'll know the whys. So Neil A. Maxwell, he said this, and I know this is going to go a little long, but anyway, he said this. And he had been through, if you know anything about Elder Maxwell, he spent most of his life in physical pain. And I know what that feels like, so I feel quite akin to him. But he said this one. He said, God does not begin by asking us about our ability, but only about our availability. And if we then prove our dependability, he will increase our capability. And you think of, we all know, well, we all are very familiar actually with Nephi building a boat. That he said, I don't know how, but I know that if I go and do it, the Lord's going to provide a way. Now, that was getting the gold plates. It also applies to when he built the boat. Nephi did a few things and several things, like over his bow, getting that fixed. He didn't know how he was going to do any of those things, but he went out and did them. Noah didn't know how to build an ark, but the Lord did it. Now, the Lord didn't say to Noah or Nephi, I'm going to interview you. What's your qualifications for boat building? He didn't say that. He said, are you guys available? And they said, yes, we're available. And then he said, are you dependable? And they like, yeah, we are. We're dependable. We'll show up, we'll get up, and we'll show up, and we'll be here because we are wholly dedicated. And then he increased their capability to be able to do what it is. And that's how it works. So it's not about your qualifications. It's about your availability, not your ability, your availability. And then the Lord will show you how and increase your capability because you're dependable and you're all in and you'll be able to do it. So that's how it does. And so in this instance, build a temple, just start. And this is where Hiram Smith went out and started clearing the ground and just started digging like, I don't know, but I know how to do this, right? And we'll read about that. If you do come follow me in the manual, you read about that. And it's pretty cool. And I kind of want to be like that. Sometimes I just don't know what to do, but I'm like, what can I do? Because I might not have money to do it and I might not have skills, but I'll show up and I'll help whoever is, So that's it. So when the Lord asks us to do things that don't make sense yet, get into it because it will make sense at some point. All right. that was insight number two. I know that went long, but it was such good stuff. I'll see you soon for number three.